Hello fashion lovers, my name is Sondile. Welcome to my channel. This is Q's Beyond Fashion. In this channel, as you know, we are absolutely crazy about fashion and especially sewing and making our own clothes. If you are also a fashion fanatic like myself, then you are sure to feel at home in this channel. In today's lesson, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to draft a basic skirt, and then we'll go on to transform the basic skirt into a pencil skirt. Now, without wasting your time, let's get started. The tape measure, a ruler, a pair of scissors, a French curve, a marker, a tracing wheel, a pen, and a masking tape. Now, because we will be drafting my own basic skirt pattern, we are going to be using my basic measurements, which are as follows. My waist circumference is 35 inches, hip circumference 46 inches, waist to hip measurement is 9 inch, waist to knee is 26 inches, and nipple to nipple measurement is 8.4 inches. To start off our pattern, we are going to start by ruling out a line at the top of our pattern paper, like so. This line is going to mark as our waistline. Next, we are going to measure the distance from our waist to our hip measurement. In my case, it is 9 inches. Next, we are also going to mark the measurement from the waist to the knee measurement, in which in my case it is 26 inches. Then we are going to draw a straight line starting from the point going straight along the hip line, and also draw a straight line along our knee, which will be our knee line. The next thing that we have to do is to label all the lines, starting with the waistline. Next, this is our hip line. Lastly, this is the knee line. Next, we move on to the waistline, and we're going to mark a quarter of the waist circumference. In my case, the waist circumference is 35 inches. If we divide it by 4, we're going to get 8.75 inches. Now, along the waistline, we're also going to add a dart, which is 1 inch in length. That means we have to add back the 1 inch along the side. This will be our new point along the waistline. Next, we're going to mark the hips, which means we're going to mark a quarter of the hip circumference along the hip line. My hip circumference is 46 inches divided by 4, and we will get 11.5 inches. Next, we also mark 11.5 inches along the knee line. And then we can be able to join the point on the knee line to the point on the hip line using a straight line. Next, we're going to use the French curve to join the waistline to the hip line, like so. Next, we are going to add the dart along the waistline. And in order to know where we are going to place the dart, we are going to use the nipple to nipple measurement. In my case, the nipple to nipple measurement is 8.4 inches. If we divide it by 2, we are going to get 4.2 inches. Also mark 4.2 inches along the hip line. Next, join the 2 points using a straight line. Along the waistline, we are going to mark the length of the dart, which is 1 inch. I want to mention earlier that we are starting with the front basic skirt pattern. That means along the hip line, we are going to measure 3 inches from the hip line up, and this is going to mark the end of our waist dart. And then we use the ruler to join all the points to finish off our waist dart. Now, this is a basic skirt. It is complete. We can label it as the front. But nowadays, most people are no longer using the basic skirt pattern. They're making pencil skirts. So in case you want to make a pencil skirt out of this pattern, you can then take in 1 inch from the side along the knee line. Take inwards 1 inch, then use a ruler and join this ponyo point to your hip point. And then like this, you now have a pencil skirt. I'm going to add 0.5 inch of seam allowance all around the basic skirt pattern. This is our front basic skirt pattern. Then we can use a pair of scissors to cut it out. Next, we are going to draft our back skirt pattern using the front skirt pattern. We are going to tape down the front skirt on a plain sheet of paper. Next, we are going to trace all the lines starting on the waistline using our tracing wheel, like so. Trace the waistline like so, and also trace the knee line like so. Next, we are going to trace the line that we use to construct our waist dart, like so. Next, we have to draw a line along our center front, and this time it's going to make our center back line like so. Then we can remove our front. Next, we are going to draw all the lines that we had in the front. This one is the knee line. Next, we have the hip line, and lastly we have the waist line. Then draw the line that is used to make our waist dart. Remember, this is our center back. Next, we have to mark the point along the waist, and we said our waist circumference is 35 inches divided by 4 to get 8.75 inches plus the 1 inch that gives us 9.75 inches. Next, we mark a point on our hip line. It is the hip circumference divided by 4, which is 46 divided by 4, and that will give us 11.5 inches. Also, we mark 11.5 inches along the knee line. Next, we are going to join the knee line to the hip line using a straight line. Then use a French curve to join the waist onto our hips, like so. Then we have to construct the waist dart. But before we construct the waist dart, let's label the lines. And lastly, this is the knee line. Let's construct the waist dart, which is 1 inch in length. Now, because this is the back, we are going to measure 2 inches from the hip line, and this will be the end of our dart. Then we join all the points to complete our waist dart. And normally we have a zipper along the center back. We're going to add a seam allowance of 0.75 at the back, because that's where we are going to put our zipper. And then along the bottom of the skirt, we are also supposed to add a slit. You can decide the length of your slit, but in my case I'm going to make it 9 inches long, and then the width of my slit will be 1.5 inches. And then I also mark 1.5 inches along the knee line like that, and then join this point to finish off the slit of my skirt. Next, I then have to mark a seam allowance along the side, which is the same as the top, which is 0.75 of an inch. Then join the points to make the seam allowance. Lastly, we mark a 0.5 seam allowance along the rest of the basic skirt. This is the back skirt pattern, and then we can label it as the back. And then lastly, along the sides of the back, depending on the type of skirt that you want to construct, if you intend to make a pencil skirt, you can then come in by 1 inch or even 1.5 inches. It entirely depends on what you want, but in my case, I'm just going to mark 1 inch inwards and then use my ruler and join this new point to my waistline like that. Now this is my pencil skirt, and if I do not want to make a pencil skirt, then this will be my basic skirt pattern. Now what is left is for us to cut out this pattern, and it is ready for use. These are the two basic skirt patterns. This is the front and this is the back. You can use them to construct any skirt of your choice. I want to thank you guys for watching the video right up to the end. I trust that from today onwards, you will be able to draft your own basic skirt pattern. If you did enjoy the video, please let us know what you think of it on the comments section. Also like it and also share it with those whom you think it's going to help. Remember to subscribe to our channel and also click on the notifications bell just to make sure that you never miss any of our future videos. Thank you so much. May God bless you all. Goodbye.